Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. Bullet My Valentine is one of my favourite bands of all time, and with the Bullet and Trivium tour coming up, there's been a little bit of talk about new music, so today I'd like to talk about 5 things that I'd love to see on the new record. Just before we get into everything, I quickly want to mention my Bullet My Valentine guitar lesson library, which is over on my Patreon page. This is my ever-growing series of Bullet My Valentine guitar lessons where I break each song down and teach you all the guitar parts. Members of the library can also vote and request for what songs they want to see me break down, so if you head on over there and you don't see the song that you want to learn, sign yourself up, put your request in, and you'll get full priority on what I go over. There's 2 ways that you can go about getting the lessons. You can either sign up and you'll have complete access to every song that I do, or the songs are also available in my shop for one-off purchase. If you'd like to support the channel and support what I do, this is 100% the best way that you can go about doing it. So if you want to learn some Bullet for My Valentine songs, head over to the Patreon page and see what's there. Link in description. Okay, that's the plugs out the way with. Let's get into the video. Maintain the Heavy. The last album had some of the most intense and heavy songs that the band have put out to date. Songs like Parasite and Paralyzed really pushed the band in a much more gnarly and aggressive direction. I'd love to see them carry on with the whole 60% aggressive vocal styling mixed in with like the sort of 40% clean vocal styling, as Matt described it before the album dropped. So yeah, I'd love to see all that stuff mixed in with the same idea of big heavy breakdowns, downtuned guitars, thrashy riffs, and just all-out intensity. I will say that the last album kind of sounded narrow to me in terms of production. That's kind of like the best word that I can use here. I'm not sure if you guys will get what I'm on about, but in terms of production, the album didn't sound quite as wide and huge as albums like Gravity and Venom. I'm not so sure if that was like an intentional artistic choice, but when you put on like a Gravity song or something like that, it just sounds very, very wide and dynamic. And then when you go and put the last album on, everything just sounds like it's brought in a little bit and sort of like the stereo spectrum, if you like. So I would like that same sort of sound that they did on the last album, but maybe a bit more of a wider, big production. Intricate song structures. So one of the reasons why I love the early albums so much is a lot of the songs had these really interesting and intricate song structures, as opposed to them all being sort of, you know, verse, chorus, bridge, outro, following that sort of formula. If you take a song like Tears Don't Fall, for example, that kind of has the verse chorus thing going on, the traditional song sort of layout and formula, like I said, but by the time you hit that middle section, the song just goes off in a completely different direction. And let's not forget, that's probably their most successful song too. So songs like Her Voice Resides, The End of Days off of Scream Aim Fire, they're all really good examples of songs that have got really cool sort of like twists and turns, and they just make for a really cool listen, and they make it really fun to play on guitar as well. So yeah, for me personally, I'd love to see some songs that have got more twists and turns in them and little intricate guitar parts or little clean passages, rather than following the basic sort of song structure, a little bit like they did on Gravity. By the way, I will say I do like Gravity. I'm not here to slag it off, and my favourite Bullet My Valentine song is even on that album, so full marks if you can guess which one that is. Matt's guitar solos. So right up until the Temper era, a lot of the songs had Matt taking some solo sections, which was always quite a big part of the sound for me. I love how him and Padge would sort of trade off of each other. You know, maybe Matt would come in first with something a little bit more slow and melodic, and then Padge would come in right after that with a face melting solo that was a little bit more intricate. And I think a lot of the early appeal for this band is that they're a 2 guitar player band, right? And they really maximized on that with things like counterpoints and harmonies and trading off of each other with the solos. So yeah, I would love to see Matt take some solos again, even if it's just the small little melodic parts like he did in Pleasure and Pain and Alone off of the Fever record. Clean guitar parts. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Say Goodnight, The End, A Place Where You Belong, Bittersweet Memories. So the clean guitar element is something that's really integral to this band's sound, just as much as the heavy stuff, and I feel a little bit like we've been missing out on it on the last couple of records. There's been little bits of it here and there, but not quite like we used to have, where a full song was sort of based around that idea. Now I will say the sort of traditional power ballad, Def Leppard-esque kind of thing might seem a little bit dated at this point, and dare I say even cheesy. But I'm sure the guys can sort of pull the same idea off, but maybe in more of a contemporary way. To be honest, I suppose a song like Rainbow Veins was a little bit like that, but it wasn't so much power ballady as it was more of like an atmospheric song, in my opinion. Rainbow Veins is a really good song, by the way, and I guess that did have the clean guitar element in there to a degree, but it wasn't like the old style where it was like, you know, very bright, chorusy, clean guitars and a more sort of traditional power ballad format. Do get why there wasn't really any of that on the last record, because it didn't really fit, I suppose. You know, rather than trying to force it in there, like with a song like Dead to the World, that song always felt a little bit forced to me, kind of defaulting to same sort of patterns and guitar tones and stuff. So yeah, this is 100% something I'd love to see the guys explore again, even if it's not quite a full song, you know, doing the full power ballad kind of thing. Think about the little intricate sections that we talked about earlier. You know, songs like Her Voice Resides and Skin, where they've got those little clean passages just before everything sort of kicks off. I'd love to see more of that again. But who knows, maybe Matt will come up with a clean riff at some point and we'll get a whole song based on that, which would be absolutely killer. Alternate tunings. So Bullet have pretty much been playing exclusively in drop B now for the last few years, with the odd C song thrown in there every now and then. They even play some of the old D standard stuff like Screaming Fire and Drop C live now, which I guess sort of makes sense from a convenience standpoint. It does make it a lot easier if you don't want to keep swapping out guitars between songs, and I also guess having the guitars tuned lower, it's a little bit easier on Matt's voice, you know, doing shows night after night. However, on the next album, I'd be really interested to see if they experiment with some new tunings and just see what they can come up with based on that. Matt did say in a recent interview with Matt Heffy that he'd been messing around with a 7-string guitar, so it will be interesting to see if that makes the record or not. However, that said, I absolutely hate playing on a 7-string guitar, so hopefully this is just used as like a layering tool or something, or a writing tool in order to get inspiration going, and the band don't just exclusively move over to 7 strings, because that's going to make doing covers and lessons a nightmare for me. But having said that, I think experimenting with some different tunings and stuff like that might give the band a little bit of a fresh edge and bring a new dynamic to their sound. So there you go, guys, that's 5 things that I would love to see on the next Bullet for My Valentine album. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and let me know what you guys would like to see as well. If you enjoyed this video, as always, please be sure to hit the thumbs up button because it helps the channel out a lot. And if you want Bullet for My Valentine guitar lessons, be sure to check out my Bullet for My Valentine guitar lesson library over my Patreon page. Link is in the description for you. So there you go, guys. That's the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, I will see you on the next one. Peace.